Would you like to see the thumbnail? Wait, you're on PlayStation. Wait, which one? I am a little bit of... Right. Can't sing song. What don't I know? No, I fainted before. I actually never have. Weak niggas faint. That's what I feel bad saying that because my coworkers actually fainted twice. Yeah, man. Must be stressing out. Fell out at work. It wasn't funny, but it looked funny. But like Denzel when he slumped against the car at the end of the movie. He looked just like that. They let his shit up like just like that. Oh. I keep spelling W wrong. I'm just too lazy to care. Wish AI could run a submarine for me. Goddamn art. Power! I need to go to my next event, bro. I need a Japanese hoe, bro. Japanese hoe. I need a cosplay. Huh? I didn't. I'm telling you, the mind link is real. I'm joking. I'm dead ass. I did not know he's playing thing. Dead ass. I didn't know. No, I'm just, yo. I've never lied to you, but sir. Dead serious. Dead ass did not know. That's it's kind of scary. And it needs to stop. It's kind of scary, bro. Headphones stop working at the same time. Yo, not them making the same meme pictures of the hospital. All right, bro. Now everybody making the meme picture of the dude from JJK covered his mouth. There we go. I got him to do what you're doing. There we go. Hey, we live
right now. There's not a single thing I can't do.
All right. Say something, Blue.
Yo.
Turn this game down. Chat, can you hear him? If there is a chat. I have proof this nigga's a fraud. Wanna see? I don't know what this. What? All right, chat. Y'all see the title. Y'all see the thumbnail. We're here to prove Naruto's a bum ass nigga and that he is the villain of the stories. We're gonna use supporting documents and you know, realistic real life scenarios to back up our thesis. Over here treating this shit like 6 and what's that, man? Swag and 6. We're gonna be power scaling how much of a gaslighter.
Well, realistically,
right? Power scale how much of a gaslighter this nigga is. Are these onions? Yeah. I'm here to stream for myself, and then we can start recording. I'm sick and tired of being tired.
nasty word.
All right, say something, Berserk. Like a long sentence, like how much of a bitch ass nigga Naruto is. Anything.
Right. Yeah, you know, Sasuke's right, Naruto's wrong. We have a list of reasons why. And, you know, we don't believe in his whole ninja way, his ideology, his bullshit. He was gifted at birth. Alright. He says, what did he say? The bullshit about, but an underdog can be the genius with hard work. Bro, you were literally gifted. You were gifted that fox since birth. Hard work my ass. Had to bail out every time. So that's number one. I don't know, did they hear that?
Yes, sir. I agree. Yeah, they heard it. All right.
Okay.
Fix my audience. Let me get the background music going. Matter of fact, y'all niggas paying to watch this. Never mind. You don't need mute.
Put on those ads.
Y'all gonna get ASMR today.
I mean, he's a bully, bro. His whole mentality is just bully niggas. I'm gonna make you see my point no matter.
Yeah, keep thinking you're free, you black spear chocolate peanut.
Please just. If you got the cojones, Cash, you should definitely get this Resident Evil 9.
All right.
If you're
I might have the cojones.
if you ever to. Shit is lit.
But why get Resident Evil 9 when I can spend 9 weeks in the sand being another man, hand in hand, trying to get a band? All right, chat.
Hey,
Ignore the bars. Today we are going to be talking.
the hell is that?
All right, let me hit the record. There we go. Is it real? Yes. All right, y'all. So today we got a pretty controversial topic. A lot of people already know Frame One ain't going to agree because it's a popular shonen character. You know, Naruto is what a lot of people grew up with, mean a lot to them. So automatically, Frame One people are gonna want to jump to his defense just because oh, but he saved me as a kid. I was like him. Like, no, I want y'all, because I was the same way for very, very many years. I looked at Naruto the same way. Like, Lone like me, got high waters like me. You know what I'm saying?
Not the high waters. Not the high
I
waters.
had the high water khakis in school. That's gay, yes, sir.
I ain't never wore high waters. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Confession time. But yeah, like I get it. I get wanting to relate to the character and feeling like you want to defend him. But I ask that y'all watch this video with an open mind. Like, hear what we're saying logically, take out your opinion, hear the facts, and then, reinsert your opinion. Don't just, oh, now y'all are wrong because Naruto. Don't read forums, hear what we're saying, and then agree or disagree with your own points, values, etc. in the comments down below. All right. So, number one, I'll state my ideology and why I think he's wrong, and then Berserk will state his viewpoint, and then we'll start the whole beating of this man. So, off the bat, I think Naruto is the villain because he often indicts his own ideologies on people through physical means, and often he doesn't have any actual verbal statements for backing up his ideologies. Pain is a literal pure proof of this. When Pain asks him, like, okay, so we got the same sensei, we've been through the same shit, you understand what I've been through, what would you do differently? The nigga was quiet. He had no answer. Pain's the first nigga to ever talk no jutsu Naruto, out talk no jutsu. Quiet. But Naruto's response to that is to get another power amp and then beat him into submission to do what he wants. Right? So we kind of go through the series and we get to a point where Naruto never really has an actual answer to this ongoing system of the shinobi world, and this is further proven also in the Great Ninja War because he almost switched sides. One nigga died, some useless white-eyed nigga died, and he already was reaching his hand up. He was ready to give up. So he don't got real conviction. It's just he's used to beating people up and getting the answer that he wants to hear. But the second someone is too strong to do that, then he ready to give up. Maybe he's right, looking ass nigga. So you ain't never saw none of that from Sasuke. Sasuke was ready to die behind his shit. So that is why I think Naruto's a fraud and bitch ass nigga. So what do you think?
I mean, I agree. Those are solid points. And to add to that, I'll say that, Naruto's whole mentality or ideology is might makes right? Like, I bully you to submission, right? As you said, he didn't have a clear answer. When Pain asked him the question, when he broached the question to him, what about my village? When Nagato asked him, what do you plan to do about this hatred? Even Jiraiya was like, maybe I'll bequeath it to you. Naruto didn't have an answer. So he spent, mind you, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He was a kid when Jiraiya brought the topic up to him, but still, he had, 3-4 years or training with Jiraiya to come up with an answer. He didn't care, bro. He was over there goofing around, chasing after Sasuke. Like, this man spent 3 or 4 years to chase after a dude who was chasing after his own goals and then didn't care nothing about what was going on in the ninja world. up until somebody came and destroyed his village, right? So after that, his whole ideology changed to, well, I may not have an answer, but fuck it, I'm just gonna beat everybody to submission. He continued to do that throughout the entire series. Even in Boruto, his false sense of peace, it's not real. It might as well be the same thing as what Madara was touting, which was a false sense of peace as well, because the only reason why people are peaceful is because, like Sasuke said, they found a common enemy, right? Naruto, in this sense, he's so powerful that nobody's going to stand against him. Right? That's the only reason why people are like going along with him. Like nobody's going to try him because he's way too powerful. That's might makes right. That's not really bringing peace. That's more like a dictatorship, right? Which is what, again, opposed to what Sasuke wanted to do, where he wanted to take the darkness all on himself and control the world that way. Remove all the tail beasts, right? Remove all the power, deconstruct the twisted way of shinobi, erase it all, rebuild from new, rebuild from scratch. Naruto wants to build on an already broken ideology. That's not going to work. We already see it's still corrupt. You can't build on a system that's already corrupt. You got to tear it down.
Yeah.
And I'll land there.
Solid points. I absolutely agree. So we're doing this on stream, but I'll edit it down and I'll bring the manga panels and all the stuff to support our stuff so y'all can visually see it. But I'm glad you brought up Boruto because I think a lot of people watch Naruto with very basic. Again, this is a 4D argument. This isn't something you kind of really normally would think about. If you just watch or read anime or manga just to do it, then that's a different type of conversation. But we're talking about breaking it down to a realistic, idealistic level. And I'm glad you brought up Boruto because a lot of people see Naruto and they see this nigga in the Hokage scene. They're like, oh, I'm so happy because he's a kid and he followed his goals to the end and he got to be where he wanted to be. But they're not looking at the actual results of what he got and what happened as a result. So one of the main wait, Donzo, here we go. Donzo was right. GZ said was good.
Hey, what's good, GZ?
Y'all can state your opinions after. It will be done. And if y'all want to state your opinions, that's what comment section for. But yeah, if y'all want to after, but it's not really like a debate. Like it's a formatted video for our standpoints. And then again, if y'all want to do a debate or something on the side, I think that could be another wonderful part 2 video. Actually, yeah, it's free content. But as I was saying, I'm glad you brought up Boruto because there's literal proof of this. So first of all, the ninja system is still relevant. Like, I think the missions are a lot less dangerous than what they had to do as kids. Frame 1, Naruto and them, they're fighting Zabuza. Like, they should have realistically died. If plot was not involved, all 3 of them niggas should have died, realistically. If they were an average shinobi going out there, like Asuma, like the other dudes in the league, 10-4, then they probably would have got packed up, right? If it wasn't Kakashi, they would have died. In Boruto, they don't necessarily deal with as many difficult missions, but that doesn't mean that they don't exist. In Boruto, you can see a mission where Boruto basically meets this dude from the Hidden Rain Village. And again, this is why, and I'll say this later, the Hidden Rain Village got to be reconstructed from scratch because they are usually the main ones starting like the cycle of hatred. Usually always these niggas, bro. Anyway, it's basically caught up in the storyline where Boruto and his friends have to do a mission in the Hidden Rain Village. And spoilers, if y'all haven't watched the show in full, there's going to be spoilers in this stream video discussion. But basically, Boruto literally comes face to face. The whole Team 7 at the time almost dies. Konohamaru's not there. They go to the Hidden Rain Village, and it's found out that not only are people still in the Hidden Rain Village massacring each other, murdering, going back to old ways, but they using kids to do it. Little children, right? And Boruto makes friends with one of these children. He realizes, like, yo, he's a pretty cool dude. He's pretty strong. He understands how I view the world. And this same kid is literally killed while they're out doing the mission. Dies right in front of Boruto. And that kind of changes Boruto's ideology in his own right, which is why he starts to chase power, because he's like, yo, I really cannot protect shit. Like, I really thought it was sweet, because beforehand they were chasing cats, doing small money missions, but he literally got to see that small nonsensical world that Naruto created. You know, that illusion that, oh, we're all safe, everybody's safe, we're all having a good time, everything is the way that I said, everybody's getting along. The second Boruto stepped out that small box that Naruto created, it was up. He saw the real world. And the real world is they're using kids, people are still dying, and no one blinked. No one took punishment for it. The world just kept going like nothing happened.
Nothing changed.
Nothing changed. So I think the current state of the Hidden Rain Village in Boruto is a clear example that not only did Naruto not have any answers, but, you know, I feel like once Kakashi got up out the chair, everybody went back to status quo because they realized Naruto's too naive to actually do anything. He's basically like the third Hokage. You got all that power, but he's too idealistic to actually do anything with it. So, you know, the Hidden Rain Village has no problem using children as you know, tools, because as long as Naruto gets to keep his small illusion, his world, then he's fine with it. You know, they'll send over the documents to be like, oh yeah, everything's fine over here, and kids are dying, and Naruto don't know nothing about it. He don't care nothing about it. So I'm glad you brought up Boruto, because I definitely think Boruto is a clear and, you know, utter example of the ninja world not actually being as safe as it is. And that's why I would argue actually it is a good show. I'm glad they did make it. A lot of people don't like it, but I like the anime filler because they slowly do something the manga didn't, where they transition from this safe, nonsensical slice of life bullshit to, okay, let's step outside. And if y'all have that 40 mindset, like we said, y'all can literally see the evolution of, oh shit, this shit is real. And we have to watch Boruto and the other characters adapt to that environment. I think it's a pretty interesting thing, but that's my first argument as to why Naruto definitely is wrong. We get to see him grow up, become a Hokage, and nothing's changed. The same idealistic world that he says everybody can be a part of, it does not exist while he's in the chair, while he's in power. So that's my first standpoint. Mr. Zook, your turn.
Yes, sir. Again, that's a very solid point. Very solid point. I didn't even actually know that about the Hidden Rain, that section in Boruto. I didn't know that, but it makes sense because, you know, just the history of the Hidden Rain. They've always been a war-torn country. You know, like it said in the Naruto series, the other countries would use them basically as the battleground for wars, right? Like they're the centralized area. They're the smaller nation. They don't have a lot going on, so they would use them for the wars. And it's just ironic that one of the main antagonists.
I'm sorry, Hidden Mist, not the Hidden Rain. I don't know, I kept saying rain. Hidden Mist.
Okay.
Village.
Oh, damn.
Sorry.
Well, damn. Okay. But anyway, all the nations, right? Like they're supposed to be united, allegedly. After the war, it was supposed to be this quote unquote revolution, right? That made it so that all the nations were going to work together in harmony, or at least that's the way they made it seem. Now, I understand that things aren't really, Rome wasn't fixed in a day, right? Things aren't going to be fixed overnight. But Naruto has been in position in the Hokage office for what? At least what, 5-10 years?
Yep.
So that's enough time, right? That's enough time to bring the world together, so to speak, under your rulership. Because let's be real, I mean, he's the one in power, right? Like it's kind of like how Hashirama became the god of shinobi. You know, he's the one who created the first village, the first unified village. And from there, like it went to shit. But again, Naruto, as you said, Cash, he's let things fall through the cracks under his authority and rulership. You know, there are kids still being slaughtered, kids still being used as military vessels, you know, child soldiers. Hell, even Orochimaru still experimenting. They got a whole underground ring of individuals fighting for their freedom. We saw that in Sasuke Shinden, right? People being used for experiments, like all of this stuff is still going on, right? I don't understand, just a side note, I don't understand how you as Naruto, you basically grew up and saw this demon, Orochimaru, who's been chasing y'all, who's committed several atrocities in your face, you've seen it, who was solely responsible for your quote unquote best friend leaving the village and all these other things. And yet you decide that it's okay for him to still roam free. Oh, well, I got guards on him. I got people watching him. That to me, it's just that's a clear indication of his neglect as Hokage. Like, why are you letting this man roam free? What, like, and then on top of that, like you said with Boruto, you know, he went out there, he was ill prepared for the world, right? Like, he didn't know anything outside of that bubble that Naruto formed, his protective bubble. And I understand that the point is, you do want the next generation to have more peace. That's fine, but you understand, you're an adult, you're well aware enough to understand that the world is not peaches and cream, and you have to teach him as your son. But okay, look, you know, there's still things going on. There's still wars and battles being fought. You know, the world isn't going to be nice. But again, it's a clear neglect. It's been shown in Boruto that he's neglectful of his duties as Hokage, as a leader. Right? They even showed that when he was, you know, in the family. Right? He's been very neglectful, and I think that's just a character trait for Naruto and Boruto. You know, it just shows that he's not. I don't feel like he's really ready. He wasn't ready for Hokage. He was just a little kid running around saying he wanted to be Hokage because he wanted to be acknowledged. But now that he's in the position, he's not. He's now realizing how real it gets, and he's not really doing much with it. Right. So he never had an answer then, and I don't think he has an answer now. And that's my point.
I agree. And I think realistically, I think Kakashi should still be Hokage. I think Kakashi wanted to, you know, help. I think Kakashi still feels guilty about Minato's death and like the whole cycle of the ninja world, so he feels responsible. Therefore, you know, his lack of better judgment is Naruto can handle it. Plus, Kakashi has said himself he never wanted to be Hokage. He's just warming, keeping the chair warm for Naruto. But
True.
I think, you know, and I think Kakashi overestimated Shikamaru's influence over Naruto because, you know, he figured, I guess Shikamaru was there to keep his head on straight because Shikamaru is a very realistic person. He watched the sensei die in front of him. You know, he tells Naruto all the time, like, you can't just do it this way. So he tries to guide him in the right ways, but at the end of the day, you know, at any point Naruto does and has and can still say, I'm the Hokage, shut the fuck up, nigga. Like, you the support, don't forget that. And he will and can do that if he wants to, whenever he wants to. So I don't think him being in the chair is any sense of good for the world. And furthermore, I think this is also neglectful, like you said, because this man can make an infinite amount of shadow clones. I want y'all to register this real quick. Naruto technically has infinite chakra. Technically. One shadow clone drains a lot of chakra, but because of how much chakra he has on his own, even without Kurama, we haven't even talked about the Nine Tails yet. He can basically walk around with one clone 24/7. He really can. He could probably walk around, realistically, I think he could probably walk around with 4 clones for 24/7 with no exhaustion. I genuinely think he could with his Uzumaki chakra. Now, in top of that, with Kurama, I think at that point, you just realize how much he hasn't thought about the process or how little care he actually puts into his ideologies outside of just what he wants, which is ultimately just a selfish character who sees the world the way he sees it and is used to, again, beating up people, which, like Berserk said, is might makes right into submission. Because any real leader, right, would have put a clone in each village to supervise themselves to make sure that things are going as say. Right. Now, Naruto has met Sasuke, and again, I'll include the manga panels, the episodes, and all that. Naruto's literally sent a clone like halfway across the world where Sasuke was at the top of the world tree. And he's commented himself like, damn, Sasuke, why'd you gotta meet me all the way out here? It's fucking far. He's like, are you a clone? He's like, yeah. He's like, just because I'm a clone, you don't gotta neglect me like that. And he's like, shut up. Here's the point. Right. So it's very clear and adamant that Naruto can send clones thousands of miles away with zero problem. The clone was tired, but the clone has infinite amount of chakra because he's linked to Naruto. Right. There's really no reason why Naruto can't at least stage a clone in each village to at least help the process or at least to minimalize any wrongdoing, so to speak, or take care of these subdivisions underneath the government that are still trying to go against the ninja world. There's really no reason. And again, his lack of common sense or his complete ideology and ideology that he can just beat up any challenge that pops up is the reason why things are going to stay the way it is far too idealistic. And it's the reason why, again, he's not suited to be Hokage at all. He's really not. He's a child who grew up getting lucky with enough power to force people who are stronger than him into submission, but he never actually grew enough to understand what his role actually is in the ninja world. And it's a very big, deep system. And I think honestly, Sasuke should have been Hokage because not only has Sasuke understood that, but he's always had the type of conviction that through the entire series he was fueled by. It's why we like him. Like people be like, oh, he's just cool. I don't think people actually realize human nature or psychology down to a deeper point and why they actually like Sasuke's character. It's not just because he's cool and he's laid back, he gets bitches. It's not just because of that. It's because he has conviction. It's because he doesn't way too many times. He doesn't change his mind that many times. And not only that, he's certain. And he makes sure that he has the power and authority to make sure that those certainties become real. He fought Itachi, they get folded, yeah, but he trained all that time and he was focused. Orochimaru said, you got to kill these niggas. He said, nah, I'm going to do it my way because I don't kill. That's how I was taught. And he did it his way. All right. Naruto's been borrowing power. None of that shit is his. Not until Sage Mode anyway. And even then, Sage Mode is only enough to do so much because you still have niggas like Oniki who can particle style. You still got lava style. There's things Sage Mode just can't solve. And Sasuke kind of understood that. He understood that, okay, just because I have my tone mode, just because I can burn shit to the ground don't mean that's going to be simple enough. There's something about the system I got to do. And Naruto, again's complete neglect of that is the current result of the ninja world in Boruto. It's why outside of these aliens, which we'll talk about later, a complete bigger issue that, again, he's been neglectful of, is a problem. And I gotta be real, I would have liked a Boruto manga where, we didn't get too much into aliens, where we focused more on the actual issue, which is Naruto is just not accepting or ready to be Hokage. And I would have preferred a manga where we dealt more into the real world problems and, Naruto eventually just accepts like, you know what, Boruto, you're that nigga. I think Boruto learning from Sasuke would prepare him to be Hokage better than Naruto could have been. And, ultimately Naruto accepting of that would have made for a better ending than, OP aliens and power scaling and bullshit that we got right now. Not to say that Boruto is not currently interesting with 2 Blue Vortex, but, there's still a very big problem that we haven't even begun to address. And I think the whole alien complex thing is kind of in the way of that. So that's my next point for why I think Naruto genuinely just isn't a fit Hokage. There's a million problems outside the aliens that he should be dealing with. And he's not doing shit. He's just pushing paper. He's not doing nothing. He hasn't thought about it. He still doesn't have an answer. He's still just wavering. So it's my next supporting option.
Yes, solid point. I agree. And I mean, we've kind of talked about this. We touched on this subject before, but it's like the more I think about it, Sasuke's ideology, even before he got to the point where he was at in the war, he actually sat down, right? He actually sat down with the Hokage. Just really think about this. This man brought back Orochimaru, all right? Somebody who he loathed. He brought him back because he understood that I'm at a crossroads. I'm lost. I need to figure out if this is what I truly believe. So Sasuke went through a period of introspection, right? As opposed to lashing out and being angry at the world, him and Itachi's battle with Kabuto, it opened his mind to more, right? To man, what is this village that Itachi sacrificed his life to protect? What made him do this? And that set him down the path of, actually being three-dimensional thinking as opposed to just reacting and retaliating to the world around him, which is all he's been doing at this point. This is why, as you said, I really like Sasuke and his character because it's not just the cool factors, not just the you know, him having swag or whatever. It's his character actually taking a step back and analyzing the world and himself in it, right? So then, as he goes to talk to the Hokage, he sits down and asks them each, specific questions, but he really wants to learn the history. And I'm a strong believer, if you don't know your history, you don't know your future. So this man Sasuke, he asked the Hokage, the ones who founded the village or who went through those eras of knowing what history was, to ask them, what makes a Hokage, what makes a ninja, what is a shinobi, why did this happen? Basically, very, very introspective and deep questions, right? To where everybody around him, Hokage, were like, wow, like, this dude's different, and even Tobirama, who initially had some prejudice, I won't say he's racist, but he had some prejudice against Uchihas. He was like, okay, this little chicker he different. All right, give him a pass. So my point is, Naruto at no point, aside from the Nagato conversation, but that was just one man's story. He didn't really delve into history like that. He didn't really delve into ninja history. He didn't really learn the events of what made everything happen today, right? Sasuke did, and I think that makes somebody better suited for being an Hokage, because if they know history, they know that it repeats, and they know where it's going. So that's what I believe also ultimately led Sasuke to be like, you know what? I don't want to just see the world burn. I want to destroy this twisted system and rebuild it, right? So now it's not just a kid, an angsty teenager on the path of revenge. Now it's, a young man who's coming into the understanding of what reality, what life is, and he wants to make a change.
Mhm.
And I think that's more noble than Naruto's just, I don't have an answer, but your way isn't right. I don't have an answer, but your way isn't right. I know that. It's like, what? How can you don't even have an answer, but you telling me my way isn't right? So it's, to me, it's very hypocritical. Even looking at Obito's case, honestly, he was just bullied. Like, Obito was walking around talking about his points, making solid points, and Naruto just socked him in the face.
And what to get around it.
It's like, that's it. Like, you're not stronger than me, so I don't have to live.
Right.
It's basically it. So that's my point. I believe Sasuke is more suited for the role because of him taking the time to actually analyze himself in history. And I landed there.
I agree. I think that's a huge part of it, actually. Sasuke's, you're not winning again. Okay. Oh, okay, buddy. Okay, pal. Okay.
Send messages. Yes, sir. Look at him go.
You're not winning again with my carry team. Okay, buddy. I'm having a conversation. Relax. Um, I agree. I think a lot of it is just the fact that Naruto never evolved. I'm sorry. Bro, you're a clown. Yo.
Egos are through the roof.
Goes. I'm sorry. We come here for the circus. Go. I can't. Anyway, this is more important. This nigga can't. So I think that's like honestly the truth. Like what you said, I don't think Naruto ever has an answer. I think that I don't think Naruto wants to really think about it. I think truthfully, if he thought about it, he'd have more to deal with than he actually wants to. And I don't think Naruto's strong enough to do what he would have to do in order to actually set the system right, to be honest. There's a lot of things that Naruto should be doing differently. Like I said, the Shadow Clone example to me is the biggest sign of neglect from Hokage. The previous Hokage, I couldn't understand why they didn't have people stationed because, you know, they don't have that much chakra to do that. But you got infinite chakra and you telling me you don't have no bodyguards and no stations outside your village. You gonna leave that to third rate ninjas? you got aliens walking around snatching niggas up one shot and you and the strongest man on the planet and you don't got no sort of protection. You don't got no sort of upkeep. No, he's leaving too much up to chance. Like he just leaves shit up to chance. And Sasuke's out there busting his ass, basically doing the Hokage's job for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he get to sit at home and play house. That's how I view Naruto as Hokage. Basically. That's exactly how I view Naruto. And I don't think Naruto even realizes that Sasuke understands this completely. I think Sasuke didn't give up his ideology. I think he just realized, all right, I can't physically beat this nigga, but I'm not going to be stupid enough to leave it up to chance and stay in the village. Because that's exactly what would happen if he stayed in it. Sasuke would successfully be doing exactly what Naruto would like. And anytime he would be like, all right, bro, I'm out. Like, we got aliens on the way. You know, this is what we got to do. He would just, you can't leave the village, Sasuke. You want to fight again? I'll just fight you anytime you disagree. And it just, like, Sasuke don't got it in him, bro. Just fight this nigga every time. He know he got to do something important. He gets to decide when he can and can't leave. So, I don't think Naruto realizes why Sasuke left. I don't think anybody realized why Sasuke left, honestly. I didn't realize it at first either. Sasuke left because there's actually important shit that needs to be done. And he realizes that the threat's not done. And Naruto is content with being in the Hokage seat, even though he's not prepared for it. And with aliens running around, right? Again, he doesn't have any sort of extra precaution. He's not making any extra advantages to make sure that the world is actually safe. He's just going along with the flow. And when you're technically the most important man on the planet or the most powerful man on the planet, that's a complete waste. That's a complete waste of life, of time, of space. You're not really using any of the gifts that you were given to your complete potential at all. At all. And that's also neglectful because you're leaving the tail beast up to chance. Now, I'm not saying that Naruto should have chained the tail beast to a specific location, but I do believe if you are that strong, it is your responsibility. If you're going to let these, because they didn't know Shin existed. No one had any idea that Shin Uchiha was walking around. If Shin was smart, he would have grabbed one of them tail beasts so fast and went to war. That's what he should have done. He wouldn't be over there trying to capture Sakura playing kid games, trying to fight the strongest nigga on the planet, talking about some Itachi evolution. Nah, if he really was about business, if he really wanted to follow what he thought Itachi stood for, he would have grabbed them tail beasts and he would have went straight to the leaf. Frame one. He would have went straight to the leaf. That or any of the other villages just to make a point. And no one would have been able to stop him because it's not like Sasuke could teleport, sure, but the damage would have been done. Sasuke can't teleport in 3 seconds and stop a tail beast from blowing up an entire village. He's not God. He's strong, but he ain't God. So the point being is Naruto doesn't have any actual countermeasures to a lot of the serious threats in the world, and he hasn't considered. Itachi considered it, right? That's why he left. Like, keep in mind, these are people who, as children, had Hokage mindset. This man was so advanced that he figured out, if someone brought me back to life, I need to make sure that there's a countermeasure that I can't be used against them because I'm that OP as a character. That's a countermeasure. That's considering the future, even if you're not sure of it. Naruto doesn't do that while he's actively living in that future. Because again, in his idealistic small mind, as long as I'm Hokage, I'll just punch any problem that shows up. And it's hilariously naive because time and time again, people show up and they beat him up. Naruto doesn't have that many W's in Boruto at all. I think Delta is literally the only person who he folded, and he was struggling against that. So again, we get to a standpoint where there's taking risks and then there's just being neglectful. And Naruto is way on the other side of being neglectful. Meanwhile, Sasuke is out there roaming the world, actively seeking these people who are trying to hurt the leaf, trying to hurt the village, trying to hurt the peace. Because he understands that Naruto is too much of a child to understand that. So he just went out and did his own thing. So that's another one of my main standpoints supporting Boruto, why I think that Sasuke should be Hokage, because people don't understand why he left, but I can see why he left. That's the smartest decision to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a solid point as well. Sasuke did leave to essentially, gather intel, be the Shadow Hokage, because Hokage is what literally, I think the term is fire shadow. So you're moving and operating in silence. You're walking in the shadows, gathering intel, research, studying, all that stuff. You're being the first line of defense. Like you said, all the stuff that Naruto's supposed to do. Now, I think their relationship mirrors what Hiruzen and Danzo had, where one was in the light and one was in the shadows, which is, I think, what Danzo was referencing at one point when he talked to Hiruzen. He was like, you're the tree and I'm the foundation, as roots, right? So one appears in the light, the other appears in the shadows, and I do the dirty work, right? All that stuff. So I think, honestly, um, I'll even make a counterpoint, or a different point. I think that if, as we discussed earlier, if Sasuke, if they went along with Sasuke's ideology, as hey Naruto, you told me, let's do this thing, I can use your help, I can use your power, and they did it together like that, I think that would have worked. I think would have definitely worked a hell of a lot better than whatever shit this is. Whatever an excuse this is to be called, you know, his his vision of what Hokage is or what the world is. It's literally just the way things have been. Nothing's changed. It might be slightly more peaceful in the world, but there's still conflicts happening. There's still things happening. Um, to which again, that's a complete, to me, that's a complete slap in the face of Nagato, Jiraiya, Madara, Obito, all of their ideology, which they were trying to rid the world. They all went about it, maybe not the best way, but they all tried to rid the world of war, of destruction, disease, all that stuff. But it just seems like Naruto's way of doing it didn't do any of that. There's nothing that was done. All it did was so what it in my eyes what it did was it made the leaf more peaceful, but the surrounding nations, they may have gotten a little bit more, security or whatever, but that's it. It just beef security. Things still happen, wars are still happening, skirmishes, fights are still happening, people are still going behind the scenes trying to gain power and control and stuff like that. So ultimately the point is, and what Naruto is proving, is that humanity, if they're not controlled, then they're going to rely on the basis level, right? They're going to rely on, know, the worst version of themselves. And I think that Sasuke's viewpoint was, okay, somebody has to take control because humanity can't be trusted. The whole system, literally the system that is allowed to perpetuate these crimes and these things that are happening, has to be destroyed. It has to be razed to the ground, and a new system has to come in its place to where it will diminish or eradicate all of these instances of where people feel like they have to do this. In his new system, there won't be the need for you to try to gain power because everything will be peaceful, right? But we never got to see what that looked like because we're living in Naruto's era. Um, and again, it goes to show you, along with the neglectful point, that I don't know how many times I keep harping on this, but Naruto, he does not have a point. He does not have a point. He does not have an answer to all of the stuff that's going on around him. It's almost like the creator didn't even have an answer for Naruto, so he came out with an alien bullshit to kind of get you away from the point where, like, hey, isn't this basically Naruto really didn't fix it. Like, if you really think about it, he really didn't fix it. And it's almost like he threw aliens in the threw a wrench, which was the aliens. Oh, new threat. Remember Kaguya? Yeah,
Yeah,
family.
right,
They're coming in
right,
here.
right.
Like, to me, it just, like you said, on the point of, I would have rather liked to have seen a more fleshed out, grounded um, reality in which we saw the effects, the after effects of the war and, Naruto's regime and all the other stuff. But we didn't get to see that because aliens. All right. So I just, yeah, I really don't like Naruto's way because I think it just goes to show again and proves that as a whole, humanity, like humans are gonna do what humans do, and without control, without them being controlled, there's really it's chaos, right? If we didn't have law and order, it would be nothing but chaos. Most people don't have the wherewithal to control themselves. If you like, we seen the movie, the Purge movies. If you gave people like 72 hours where they can do whatever they want, no rules, no boundaries, right? No consequences, no nothing. What do you think the vast majority of people are gonna do? They're gonna live out their fantasies. Oh, I always want to do this. I always want to do that. All right, because they don't. The only reason why they withhold themselves is because of fear of consequence. Right? If I do this, then this will happen to me. Right? That's the main reason why people don't do anything. It's not because they have morals. It's because they don't want to go to jail. They want to lose their life. They don't want to lose their livelihood. All this stuff because it's based out of fear, and fear keeps people in line. Fear keeps the girl to be able to walk down the street at night. Fear keeps the children to be able to have fun in the park or do what they need to do without somebody coming and doing something to them. Right? Because the fear is if said person does something to these people, then X or Y will happen. I think that Sasuke's way would have been that he literally said ruling out of fear. Like, y'all need to fear me because the other way isn't working. We've allowed several generations of different Okage to rule and to lead, and they've led us into destruction. They've caused situations as to where, my life was hell, many other people's lives were hell. They caused the literal destruction of my race. No, this has to stop. This got to stop. I'm just for it, man. I really, we got to see Naruto's perspective and his rise to power, and it just not looking good for the boy. It's not.
It's not at all.
I'll land there.
You could have been in the Hayden era. He robbed us of that, bro. We could have been in the Hayden era. For real. I agree. I think there's a quote. I'm gonna definitely show y'all it from the movie. I don't know how many of y'all seen Avengers. I mean, everybody damn near watched the Avengers. Marvel's a household name. If y'all remember Ultron, he said something very interesting. He basically said, "You guys are confusing. What do you say? Peace with quiet. Y'all are confusing peace with quiet. Things are quiet, but that's not the same as it being peaceful. Niggas ain't blowing shit up because they know they got Tony Stark. That's it. That don't mean shit is good and we're keeping the world safe. Like, they true to their name. They're literally the Avengers. Every time they do something, it's too late. The world already retaliated, and then they come here with their suits on and they fix it. So y'all the Avengers, all right. And the Ultron's whole point to that is you live up to your name so much so that the world is destroying itself, and y'all are comfortable because you get to do your job. You get to look like the hero at the end of the day. And this is also the consequence right after. This is also the consequence of what's the movie? Civil War and the other one before that. Like, the entire Avengers timeline is basically up to and the point of which Tony understands, and Tony was right, by the way. We're gonna get a Tony was right video next.
Yes,
fuck that nigga Cap. We're gonna get a why Tony. We might have to just bring the villains with right shit back. We might have to just do it all the way. Cause there's a lot of niggas that be right, and then people wanna Aaron was right. All right, let me stop because y'all don't say I'm a genocide. All right. We had this last time, but my point is the whole Ultron thing is Ultron is absolutely right. A lot of people confuse peace with quiet, and like Berserk said, it's the reason the whole Batman ideology. Oddly enough, people are a huge fan of Batman, but they don't even understand the mission. They don't understand what he's doing. They just think he's cool and he's stoic. Like, they completely miss the point of the character. Like, why that fear is important, but why he does what he does. The point of the being is Batman doesn't like being Batman, and he doesn't like ruling through fear. Sasuke didn't want to do it. It's what had to be done. He didn't want to cut down the Hokage because, y'all supported the Akatsuki. Sasuke evolved to a point where he was far past the mundanities of what happened in this era. His point is to stop it from happening again. Not what's happening in my house, but all the other houses, because he understands that as long as he doesn't do that, it's just going to keep happening over and over again, like Sir said. So Naruto completely ignores that. And again, his answer to majority of it is, I'm Hokage and I can stop it. But okay, what happens when Naruto's not Hokage? Who's next? How badly do y'all think the next Hokage is gonna have to suffer the same way the person after Hiruzen did, which was Tsunade? Tsunade did with a lot of shit. And she's not even that strong.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think people actually understand how badly Tsunade had it. I would argue she had the hardest Hokage job out of everybody. Kakashi
She
had it
did.
the easiest because he really didn't have to do much. Most people were already co-signing peace because, you know, we all just worked together fighting the Akatsuki. So everybody already on friendly terms. Nobody really on timing like that. But as we can see, you know, people understand and have analyzed Naruto's character to the point, again, as I stated earlier, that they completely are aware of his naive nature. So, and B has literally tested the button. He stood in the same room with Naruto and been like, all right, we can just go to war then. And understand that Naruto is too weak to actually consider that an option just to test his ideology. Right. And then Shikamaru was like, all right, well, we have, you know, strong Kage. And then B sits down, he goes, oh, damn, this nigga's fuck. But it's not just a power struggle. It's also a psychological struggle. It's also understanding the psychology again of what it means to be a leader, what the responsibility of that is. And Naruto completely lacks that. He's too naive. He's too kind. And yes, miss, you've been waiting to hear this all day. To a degree, Donzo was right. To a degree.
Right.
I ain't going to.
Still said that was all right. No matter.
Donzo, he said. All right, to a degree. I'm not talking about his shady ass methods because Donzo was a hypocrite.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he was wrong. Not because of what he was trying to achieve, but the way he was trying to achieve it made him a hypocrite. That's why Donzo was wrong. But yes, his initial ideology was absolutely correct. Hiruzen was too soft. He didn't want to do what he wanted to do. And again, people will test you in the opposite side of the room, even though they know they are stronger than you, just to see what you will do. And if you fail that test every time, they're going to raise the bar higher until you get to a point where you can't control it. And that was Donzo to Hiruzen. Tried to assassinate the nigga. He did nothing about it. I knew about your plan, nigga. You failed. You're not going to kill me? You're not going to throw me in jail? Which he was asking, what you going to do to me? What you going to do, Red? What you going to do? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. You've learned your lesson. Just don't try it again. What? And then that's where the Orochimaru stuff, that's where all the, you know, I would also argue a lot of Donzo's downfalls also, you know, Hiruzen's fault to that degree because he should have held him accountable. If he held him accountable, he would have checked him and then he would have been a lot more liable to work alongside him and see, okay, maybe he's not as weak as I thought. And then they could have actually built the foundation the way it should have been. Maybe the Uchiha didn't have to die, right? But because of his lack of action, because he proved that he was exactly as weak as he thought he was, not physically, but, you know, for the role of Hokage, he proved that he was the wrong choice, that the second Hokage did make the wrong choice. The same way that the world did for Naruto. So, again, the only reason why Sasuke ain't in that village is because he understood that there's no point in trying to fight this man because I can't physically win. Not you quitting. Okay. And he's not prepped for the role whatsoever. At all. And I'm a huge fan of what Ultron said, and I think that that is the main state of what we have in Naruto, which is quiet. We don't have peace. We just have people who are pretending to be quiet. And you know, they haven't made it unknown. I do like the fact that the writers have made it pretty obvious that many times the other Kage do come to the convention and, you know, they're peaceful about it. But like I said, A's already pushed the button more than one time when it comes to talking to Naruto, when it comes to how he wants to deal with things. If y'all remember when Kakashi was Hokage, and again, I'll put this on the screen for y'all. In the Naruto last movie, what was A ready to do? Naruto was on the moon fighting. They all knew Naruto was on the moon fighting for everybody's life, fighting a little Otsutsuki. Nobody else but Sasuke could have beat that man. Everybody was fully aware of that. What was A ready to do? He didn't give a fuck. Right? That man was gonna blow up the moon with that nigga right on it. Naruto's up there, sir. Nigga, what? Blow the moon up. He was loading the cannons up. Niggas forget that. Y'all forget that. He was loading the cannons up. He didn't care. So again, it just shows that people are only quiet because Naruto is around at the moment. But at any opportunity, if they see the opportunity to seize that power back, they're going to do that. And then they're going to try to live out the world the way they want, which is what we already had, or a worse version of it, which is a rulership mentality, or what is the word? Dictatorship, as y'all like to call it. But we already have that. They're just being quiet about it. They're just being passive about it, sneaky about it.
Yep.
But Sasuke's way would have gotten rid of all that sneakiness because he would have had eyes on every nigga, right? He would have had somebody. First of all, he would have killed all the Kage, so there wouldn't be no sneakiness. All right, there wouldn't be any of that. It's kind of the same way Aaron was preparing the parody for the rumbling. He appointed my son Flock. He appointed Flock for a reason because he understood the ideology. So there wasn't none of that betrayal, none of that weirdo shit. Sasuke would have essentially done the same thing. So yeah, that's another reason why I feel like Naruto is the villain, because he's somebody who has a million questions with no answers. No. And the proof is all around the series if you pay close enough attention to it. So that's my my fourth argument against why Naruto is in fact a fraud, why he isn't prepared to be Hokage, why he should be taken about the chair, and why I'm actually glad that nigga is in another round. Sucked away. I'm actually happy. I know that sounds crazy, like, oh, you're just Naruto hater. Like, nah, y'all don't. Like Berserk said, it's the ultimate disrespect to stand against somebody who has an answer and have no solution of your own. Makes everything before that pointless. It's an ideology of dying by the sword you swing. And if you have zero fucking reason why you swing that sword, you have no business standing in front of me as a man who does. That's the whole point of it. And Naruto don't have an answer. He don't want an answer. He wants to live in Naruto's fantasy world. So that's my end point on that.
Yep. And to add on, to land back on that point, Naruto's perspective or answer when he was talking to Sasuke in the Volt 2 fight was, I learned everything from people in the past. I'm not going to let you do whatever you want. I'm not going to let you destroy it. So his answer was, the past has already been established, and I want to keep that going. Not addressing the current messed up way of Shinobi, not addressing the current state of affairs, the world, how the world is, but that the past had been established, and I learned from these people of the past, so therefore everything has to stay. What what kind of answer or mentality is that? So again, like I said, the only like Naruto's a bully. So he basically beat everybody into submission. He didn't have an answer at all. He didn't have a solid point. People were coming out with real solid points of, okay, well, like Pain literally him showing it to the village was a point in of itself. All right, I destroyed your village. I killed almost everybody you care about. Now what do you have to say? What do you plan on doing about this hatred that I had to deal with? What's your answer to peace? I'm gonna kill you. I don't care about that. I'm gonna kill you. Oh, I see. Yes, that would be very noble of you. So essentially, what his goofy self didn't realize was that Pain was walking him down the same logic that he had already realized. He had already been through the 5 stages of grief, right? He already been through the pain. He already been through the hatred. He's been through all that. He's past that now. He's at a level where now it's business. Now I'm going to rule over this world, and I'm gonna do it how I see fit. Now, obviously, Pain's way wasn't, or Nagato's way wasn't, to me, it wasn't the most ideal, because I think his way was giving all of the nations tail beasts and then letting them war with each other to destroy the whole world. Like that, come on, that's not even. He just wanted to see the world burn.
Yeah. He was an angry kid. He was a very angry kid. He wouldn't really.
So I don't think that way would have worked. Sasuke was still pure at heart, for the most part. He still wanted the world to exist. He just wanted to rewrite it, right? He just wanted to destroy the regime, remove all of the individuals who he knew were going to be a problem, because he already knew if he would say, "Nah, we're not doing this. We're gonna do something different." No, we're not doing that. We'll die by that. Especially I die by mine. I die by mine. That's right? So he had to remove. So I'm just gonna remove all of y'all because there's no point, right? So again, like you said, Naruto was soft. he just allowed too much. He allows too much, and to be honest, I think an even better candidate than Naruto is the current Hokage, which I think is Shikamaru, right?
Yes, sir.
From the manga. Yeah, that like, come on. He has served for two Hokage. I want to say two Hokage terms under Kakashi. He got training under Kakashi, and then he served for Naruto. That man knows he knew more about the Hokage position than Naruto did going in it. He's the one that actually was his. I know he's acting as an advisor as well, but if it wasn't for him, Naruto would be cooked. Naruto would be cooked in that position. So I think aside from the power aspect or dynamic, if we're going strictly off of just brains and mentality, I think Shikamaru is one of the other candidates. Now, the only problem with Shikamaru is that he also supports the current infrastructure and the current way things should be done, and that's the one thing I can't agree with. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that Shikamaru was on Sasuke's side. That would, man, that'd be it. That'd be it. That's that would be cold. That'll be a cold team up. But again, even looking into the real world now, I don't think you obviously, with the exception of a few extremists, you'd be hard pressed to find people who don't agree that the system needs to change. It needs to be remodeled, reconstructed, whatever you want to call it. It needs to be redone, right? Because the current system is, like you said, we're still living under a dictatorship or rulership. Monarchs and oligarchs have never left. There's still those in power, those in control. They've just lulled us to sleep with the idea of democracy, but it's really not. We see it with elections. We see it with, them putting in laws, certain laws. You can't even, do you know that in the United States, you can't even grow your own food outside? Like, if I want to grow my own food outside in the backyard, I can do that. It's illegal. So tell me, how is that freedom, or how is that a true democracy when I have laws that restrict me from, having autonomy, just growing food? I can understand if there's certain things that you're growing, but I'm just growing produce so that I can live. But they don't want you to do that, right? So that we already understand that we're living in a dictatorship veiled under democracy, and that's what Naruto is, right? He's a dictator veiling everything in democracy and peace. But again, his authority hasn't really done anything. He's allowed too many things to slip through the cracks. Maybe I'd even go as far as to say this: if he was more on point and try to get all the nations together under one banner, when the Otsutsuki arrived, he probably could have fared a better shot. If Jigen and them showed up, he probably could have fared a better shot if the world had been more advanced or prepared for him. Because I mean, like, now looking back at it, you knew about Kaguya, you knew about Toneri. Nothing in your mind. Sasuke was the one that's like, you know what? Let me go out here and find other clues, because there could be another Otsutsuki threat out here. You didn't think that would be a possibility? You couldn't further plan ahead? Plan, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, he sees the writing on the wall, but he's not doing anything about it, And that's another one of my problems with Naruto. Like, Sasuke's going out here, they try to make fun of him, say, "Oh, he's never at home. He's a terrible dad." Okay, well, that terrible dad is trying to make sure that the world, the ninja world, is safe, so that his daughter has a place to go, so that there's a world still standing. So that's what kills me about about the argument. But like you said, I agree. Naruto's ill suited for the job. Another point or another saying, I don't remember who it's from, and I might butcher it. So, but I think it's, the one who doesn't want the title or the position is the one who's suited for it. So, somebody who doesn't want to be king is the one that's suited to be the king. Somebody who's always like, I want to be king, I want to be king. Oh, I thought I was being the king, and da, da, da. More than likely, he's not suited for it. I'm not saying that's 100%. I'm not saying that's set in stone. I'm not saying all, but I'm saying more than likely, the one who does not want the job, it's like, nah, I don't want to be king. Nah, I'm good. Usually, they're the one that's suited for the position because they're not going after it out of anything vain, right? They don't want the position out of vanity. And more than likely, if they don't want a position, that means they're more liable to be noble in that position. Somebody who's craving it, who's making that their whole thing. You have to analyze what are their ulterior motives behind wanting that position. Why do they want that position so much, right? Do they just want the position just to want it? It's almost like Naruto wanted the title Hokage just to have the title to be acknowledged. Remember, because he was a kid on the swing set outside who everybody ignored. But it's almost like he wanted the highest position possible in the village, just so that everybody can say, "Oh, we have to acknowledge him. That's Naruto Hokage office. Now we have to acknowledge him." And it's like after that, he didn't think anything else after that. Just to be acknowledged. I'm gonna pick the highest position because I know that they have to acknowledge me when my face is on that mountain.
Four is exactly what it is.
Like there was nothing else beyond that. And like we said with Sasuke, when he came to the idea that he wanted to be Hokage, it was because he had listened to the Hokage again throughout history, about history, formulated his idea or his belief or his mindset based off of all the circumstances involved, history, his life, the world, seeing how things actually operate, and then forming an answer. So that's my point as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Following up on the what if Naruto would have like gotten everybody more prepared. Now that I think about it too. Yeah, they didn't have to fight a full power Jigen. That only happened, if I remember correctly, like, and I don't remember Boruto completely on how Jigen got all his fucking power back and all that nonsense. But I'm pretty sure they could have probably killed him before that happened, and then they wouldn't have to really worry about an immediate Otsutsuki for a while. But because of their lack of preparation and Naruto's dumbass, basically they were always behind every single time something pop up. So usually how it would happen in Boruto is they would find something out and then it would immediately happen because they don't have no prep time. Sasuke would like find a document or, proof of something and then nigga would come popping up, teleporting in Naruto's backyard or some shit. That's usually how it happened. But if Naruto also sent clones out to actively search to look for answers and get information out of people, because it's not like they don't tell them no, they could have probably prepared all the best warriors or something. I don't believe now the Otsutsuki transformation. Sure, it's not like even if they had all the Kage, they would have been able to hang because we saw them all get one tap by the other Otsutsuki that was weaker, right? But in his normal form, we saw a clone Jiraiya stand up to this man. He almost killed him. He hit him with the Danzo tag. Bastard, you almost killed me. So you're not telling me all the Kage, if they got together and jumped this nigga, could not have killed him before he was able to get all that power. They could have definitely done something beforehand. So, yeah, total neglect. And then the point of Naruto doing it just because he wanted to be noticed. Yeah. I think him being Hokage still comes from a childish notion of I was bullied as a kid. They ignored me. Like I said, now that my mountains on the wall, my face, they gotta know. I'm in the history books. I can go out with a bang, but that's a complete, ideology of selfishness without having any actual answer to why you're doing it. You're just doing it just because. It's hard to have empathy for someone or something after, the negative effects of what you did already happened. You can't be like, I want to protect the other villages. I don't want this to ever happen again. It's not fair. But, you're the direct cause of it. You could have stopped this. You could have absolutely sent 1,000 clones over here. It would have stopped immediately. But because Naruto is too trusting of human nature, he's too damn naive. It leads him to believe that people will just make the right decision on their own and just continue to live justful, free lives. And I think that's one of the most ridiculous idealistic notions I've ever seen. Considering someone who fought as a child in a war, like how old was he? What is it, like 15, 16 him, Sasuke? Fighting in the Great Ninja War? Like,
I think
you
it was
are,
17.
y'all are literally teenagers. Y'all haven't gone to high school. Y'all, I mean, I know they don't have that, but like, my point is, y'all are literal children compared to the rest of the world fighting in a literal fucking war. And you don't see a problem with that enough to be like, all right, let me make sure this shit never happens again. Instead, you trust the same world that caused the war to just, nah, we all understand. Everybody gets it now. No one's going to make any more wars
Basically, on good faith.
on good faith. And then your son goes across. And what cracks me up is his mentality never changes. Like, no matter how many times Boruto comes back from missions and he tells him, because they have to submit the reports. Konohamaru has to submit the reports. No matter how many times they come back barely alive, fighting these S-class niggas that pop out the blue for plot's sake, Naruto's mentality never wakes up. He never changes. He doesn't, like, reassign Team 7. He doesn't do any sort... Like, he's literally in his own ass. He doesn't do anything to actually safe keep Boruto in any way. It's almost like he's comfortable that his son is out there risking his life doing these missions because he did it. And that, you know, above all, makes you unfit to be Hokage. Even I'd argue with that at that point, because you're okay with a system where your child can go outside and basically have a 50% gotcha game chance of running against a nigga as strong as Orochimaru. And you have zero protection, you have zero laws, zero any sort of anything to stop it. You neglected to teach yourself the flying Raijin, so it's not even like you can just guarantee his safety. So you're just leaving it up to chance. That's what you're gonna do. Okay. And people don't really think about that. They don't. Oh yeah, but Naruto's strong and he has good fights. He nah. So that's another reason why I would argue that he's not fit to be Hokage or dad. You know, he doesn't consider anything. He hasn't guaranteed safety. He's considering safety. And I think as somebody who's responsible for everybody in the room, that's the stupidest thing you should be doing. You know, if you want somebody to feel safe in the room, you should be already considering every option against them being hurt, right? Not maybes and, you know, if I do this, then maybe, you know, maybe if we do it this way, things will be all right. That's just completely delusional. That's just neglectful, you know. So that's yet another reason why I feel like Naruto is not a suitable Hokage outside of the shadow clone points and outside of him not having any sort of idea of what the fuck he's doing. I also forgot to mention this, and I'm not sure if you know this as well, Berserk, but you remember them niggas that were like them old dudes who have been running the Leaf behind the shadows since like forever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, them niggas are still running Leaf from the shadows since forever. So again, I don't think Naruto takes any of this like seriously, because these two old niggas with zero power levels are still making decisions. They still somehow have the right to veto, they have the final say. Like, you have the Hokage and then you have these niggas. And for some reason, you have to bring your paperwork, your decision making before them. They're like 90, 100 years old making decisions for the Leaf. Their time been up. So Sasuke wouldn't put up with that. If Sasuke was Hokage, there's no way this nigga would be going to the fucking room, submitting paperwork, talking about some, I think this is our best bet against the Otsutsuki. He wouldn't be doing none of that. He'd be sending niggas out. You going outside, you going here, we doing this, we doing that, no questions asked. If you got a problem with it, you out the business. That's it. I'm surprised they're still alive too.
Me too. I was just about to say, I'm surprised they're still alive too.
I'm surprised Kakashi, you know, Shikamaru. I'm surprised absolutely nobody has seen a problem with that. Like, they're also responsible.
Tsunade had to tell them about themselves.
She did?
Yeah.
What was this?
She sat them goofy ass mofos down during the pain arc.
I gotta rewatch Naruto again from scratch.
It was the old dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. She sat him down.
After that, they should have been completely revoked from power. I don't know how the fuck they're still around. Like, what? That's like talking about how VP should overthrow the president. I mean,
Because
I mean,
I think their mindset during the war was Naruto is Jinchuriki. Basically, he's a biological warfare weapon of war, or some shit, a BOW. So he needs to be kept in the village.
yeah,
We need to keep him
yeah,
safe in the village, whatever. And they're like, and she's like, nah, man, y'all tripping. So that he could have been caught. He could have been caught. No,
yep. I remember flashbacks.
didn't have faith in him.
Mm-hmm. We can't allow a weapon. I mean, person that powerful to walk out. Right.
No. Yep.
Huh. It's not up to you. Y'all not going outside. I'll do it. I remember that. Something like that. Y'all get to sit in here, be comfortable. The real warriors will fight, or some shit like that. So, with that in mind, and Tsunade understanding that, I think she's also neglectful for not bringing that up. Before I left my term, I would have been like, yeah, them niggas gotta go. By the way, Kakashi, make sure you do something about them. Kakashi's smart. Kakashi is not naive. Kakashi's not somebody as lighthearted as Naruto. I can't do that. That nigga would have got rid of them with the quickness.
He would have.
To ensure that Naruto had an easier time, or the future Hokage, that nigga would have got rid of him with the quickest. So
he's killed for less.
Yeah, I think that was maybe a little neglectful of Tsunade, which also, causes that to be part of her problem. Because matter of fact, I lied. That is Kakashi's fault, because I'm pretty sure that nigga was in the room too, if I remember correctly, and he's the one that was like, I'll guard Naruto personally, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong about that. I gotta see that episode again, and I'll edit this part out. But I could have swore he was in the room when they were having the conversation. And then he was like opted in, was like, I'll protect Naruto personally along with Guy, some shit like that. Or I know a guy who's, strong enough to protect Naruto. It was something like that. I remember somewhat of the conversation. But the bottom line is, if Kakashi's also at fault, cool. But, I think they're both equally at fault at that point if Kakashi was in the room to not remove these fossils from having any semblance of decision making, because that's out of fucking pocket. How's your guard not broken? Here we go. Yeah. So I think they gotta go.
They do. And I know we weren't really answering comments, but I do want to address that comment by Prime, where he said, even the president answers to Congress, you got to have oversight. Also, those old dudes have the backing of all the people giving money. It's the main theme, how politicians play a role in the cycle. Yes, I will agree that, that's the one thing. That's the one thing that I have to disagree with Sasuke's viewpoint, where he's like, I'll become the darkness alone. I'm the only one. That's, for a regular human being, yeah, that's not ideal. You do need counselors. You need counsel. You need old wise men there to counsel you on just affairs in general, right? It's not good to have an echo chamber just of you, because that literally leads to you being a dictator and doing heinous things without people there to kind of regulate you. So that's the one thing I will also agree with him on that point, that I don't think it's healthy to just not have counselors, right? But who do you have in your corner? Who do you have in your circle? Is it a whole bunch of greedy dudes, greedy mofos with bad intentions, with ulterior motives, who are only there to line their pockets and, come up and do some shady-ish to gain power? Or do you have actual people who are there for, not only for you, but for the sake of the country and of the world? So, like I said, with Donzo, yeah, that dude always touted about, I'm doing what's best for the Leaf. I'm doing what's best for the Leaf. No, he didn't. He did what's best for himself, because Sasuke proved that during their fight when, he called him out when he was like, "You who extolled self-sacrifice will take a hostage."
Yes,
it's
sir.
not that I think my life is better to the village.
Like an ass nigga.
he proved you wrong right there. Like, you're not doing what's best for the leaf. You're only acting in your own self-image or interest. Like his whole life, he wanted to be Hokage. It's another point. He wanted to be Hokage. Tobirama was like, all right, because I remember I watched this episode recently. It was during the Ginkaku and Kinkaku mission or whatever. And Tobirama was like, all right, I'm going to go out there and distract them and fight them. I just need so-and-so to do X, Y, and Z. And nobody said anything. Danzo was too scared to speak up because he knew that more than likely he had to risk his life. Right? And before Danzo sitting there gripping the ground, bro, like, damn it, I wish I was stronger type shit. Hiruzen was like, I'll do it. And so at that point, the second Hokage named Hiruzen Hokage after him. He's like, no, I'm not going to let you do that. You're too young. You got your future ahead of you. I'm the Hokage. I'll go out there and do what needs to be done. But just because you stood up, you had balls, and you were willing to make the hard choice and the sacrifice, I'm making you Hokage. Danzo bitch ass got so mad, he got jealous because he's like, why couldn't I do that? Why couldn't I do that? Because you're a snake, right? You think your life is better or worth more. And in the end, he did the same thing. But, you know, Danzo's way about going about things was not right at all. Like, you know, he lived a life where I don't even think you'd be able to look yourself in the mirror, right? Like, he shed all his morals. That to me is somebody who's doing things purely for self gain. There's no righteousness. There's no, you know, him looking at the bigger picture, quote unquote. It's literally you just being selfish, not caring who gets caught in the crossfire, not caring who, you know, you use, who you destroy, whose lives you destroy, and all the other stuff. He didn't care. He acted in his own self interest, and that's why he was Hokage for like 2 seconds. And he died.
Sir,
I don't even think he was official Hokage anyway. I think he was just
he was
announced. I think he had to be inaugurated. Right?
Name. He was Hokage temporarily.
Yeah. So damn, he got pseudo Hokage. He didn't even get the real thing.
No, that's why he ain't on the wall. That's why he ain't on the wall. He was never inaugurated. I mean, I don't think either way he would never been once they found out about him using the eye, Shisui's eye. Yeah, it was up in there.
Yep.
I would think they would have made sure they can't aggravate this nigga. This nigga got Uchiha eyes in the sockets.
Or if they you know, he basically Epsteined all the foundation members. Put a curse mark on them so they can't speak. So Lord knows what he was doing, him and Diddy Maru on that island. Kids.
Epstein, it's crazy. He lied though. Sure did. For the sake of the leaf.
You must die.
Oh my god. Nigga's such a fraud.
It really is.
How you that big a bitch ass nigga? Why couldn't I do that? I hate you because I move. Except the Donzo files. Dead as hell.
Matter of fact, didn't what's that dude's name? The dude who does the exhibits, the cases on the characters. I think he did that actually.
Oh yeah, he did. He did. I saw it
The
recently.
case on
Yeah.
I forgot about a lot of shady shit. I remember that him and he's the reason why Yahiko basically died, and he basically created Nagato or Pain, really.
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for him, Pain wouldn't even be created. Kabuto wouldn't be a thing. Like, he created a lot of villains.
He created a lot of villains. Nigga single-handedly created all the Shippuden. Nigga created that whole show just off of existence for the leaf. Bitch
The leaf,
ass.
right?
For the leaf. I must create another season.
Yeah, he created like 3 main villains, if I'm not mistaken. He basically created Sasuke because he got the Uchiha clan massacred. He created Kabuto, which he became, Sage Kabuto. Literally started the war. Um, and then he created who else? Somebody else. Oh, Nagato. Oh, Pain.
Sick.
3 for 3.
Sick ass nigga. For the sake of the leaf. But that's majority of it. We are gonna do a part 2 vid. We'll have a debate. Seems like some people want to debate this. I'd love to hear y'all points against these counters. That would be legendary. I don't see how else Naruto would be suitable elsewise. We're not saying Sasuke's the perfect Hokage. We're just saying his way is the most reliable. That would have at least produced results better than what Naruto is currently doing. Because from where we're sitting, Naruto isn't doing anything at all. Like nothing changed. And there's plenty of villages out there that have suffered because of it. And he doesn't really seem to give a fuck about it or plan on doing anything. So, uh,
Mm-hmm.
Sasuke was right. Pain was somewhat right, but his way of doing it was too violent, too. It didn't really make sense. Like you say, you just want to see the world burn. He was angry. Um, Madara's way. Madara was right, but he just wanted the coward's way out. He was like, the world can't be fixed, so I'm gonna just create a world where the world is fixed, but it's not real.
Right.
So, like,
Basically.
I'll be the only nigga awake. Y'all can all sleep in the infinite world of dreams until I die and the Genjutsu wears off. But at least everybody's happy. So I wouldn't really
Mm-hmm.
argue Madara even had. Madara's another one who never really had an answer. His answer was just put everybody to sleep. That's not a real
Yeah.
actual answer because what happens when niggas wake up? Unless he
Right.
wanted to go the Attack on Titan route, which was no one would reproduce and everybody would just die in the tree forever. We all just go out in the tree, but that's not an answer. That's a cop out. It's a lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an escape. And I will agree with Naruto on that single point that's a lie. That was a lie. That world, that answer, it wasn't real. Him saying "wake up to reality." All he wanted to do was create a false piece, a fake world to escape to because the real world was too hard. And I noticed something about Madara's character as well in his final fight with Hashirama. Um, he literally did all that as a game. He wasn't serious, right? Because in the end of the fight, when he had Hashirama basically beaten, he was like, I finally got you, or something like that, right? And Hashirama was dead ass. He literally turned around and was like, I'm not letting anybody threatening the village, no matter who it is, friend or foe, and stabbed Madara in the back. And the reason why that was so major is because Madara never let his guard down. He never let his back open his back up to anybody except Hashirama because he trusted him. Because at that point, Hashirama never stabbed him in the back. He never did anything dirty like that. But again, like I said to Madara, that fight was a game. It was to see who was stronger. Go back and look at the fight if y'all haven't. You'll see the dialogue and everything. But Hashirama took that shit serious. He was done. He was tired of the threats against the world or the village or whatever, and he decided to remove them. Right. So at that point, Madara became disillusioned to the world, and he wanted to escape. He wanted to escape because he realized that, no amount of power, no amount of, trying to reason, trying to come together, it's just not going to work. So I'm going to create a world where there's no conflict, there's no war, there's no disease, but it's not based on anything real. It's just a nice little fantasy to lull you to sleep, And again, I don't agree with that. That's not real. The point of life is to experience it. that's not to say just because something is peaceful, that doesn't mean that there won't be bad times or hard times, right? Those things need to exist. It's a part of humanity. It just is, right? But this is a concept again known as what I like to call the martyr complex or the Christ complex, where you have a character like Naruto who's supposed to be like Christ, and comes in. He's a child of prophecy, right? He comes in and he's supposed to save the day and unite the world, but he's a false messiah. Just like Madara is a false messiah, Naruto's a false messiah. All these characters are false messiahs because they can't do it. And I'll land there as well.
I agree. Somebody got to do it.
No,
Yeah. When I was a lot more naive, I was like, Madara's right. I would help him. The world is hard, but again, the point of living and experiencing that is seeing the end. Like, I'll throw a little bit of rap in there for y'all. Like, get rich or die trying. Like 50 Cent's whole motto. It's multi-layered explanation of his existence. That's why the album worked, because he was absolute in it. There was no hesitation in his music, his art form, because he believed that with his soul. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go out like this. Either they're gonna kill me or I'm gonna go out like this. That's how life should be, lived upon. Shouldn't be out here trying to escape to some world of moonlit dreams. Like, it's not real. And you want everybody to live in La La Land while real shit might be happening. And what that real shit might be happening is the Mosutsuki. They would have pulled up, sapped everybody up. There would have been nobody to stop them, and the entire world would have ended. That would have been it. Madara would have probably been old by then, because I don't believe the infinite Tsukiyomi works against the person who started it. I don't think it works that way. So he would have been old, sitting in some chair, staring up at the sky like fucking man's name, Thanos, like the job is done. And them niggas would have came down, he would have tried to throw hands, and they would have lost immediately. So yeah, the coward's way out, there's no point in that.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally no point in that. And like I said, the whole savior complex with Naruto and the whole I'm gonna do it. Naruto never had any answer. He never wanted an answer. Like I said, he was a child who was abused, who thought, damn, I wish niggas would look at me. Oh, I know. I'll get strong enough so that niggas have to look at me. And he did that. He got lucky. He was born with Nine Tails power. They put it inside of him. So, I mean, there's really no way Naruto could have really went in any other way unless he chose to be evil. And even in that world, he would have been absolutely selfish, following his own ideologies. I think a evil Naruto is kind of like, what's that nigga's name? From 1010's Infinite Tsukiyomi world. I think that's how Naruto should have been. That Naruto, yeah, not Menma. Well, he's called Menma, but he has yellow hair, the yellow haired Menma, the real Menma.
Right.
He's like stoic, super. He's like a ripoff Sasuke, but he's not Sasuke. He's just a calm, straightforward ninja that, if y'all remember 1010's dream, she was so irrelevant. She made another nigga more important than herself. Crazy word to me, but
Temple.
But literally though, it basically showed what if Menma never got captured, or what if he didn't turn evil, or whatever the fuck, from Madara's Infinite Tsukiyomi. Mina, was it Mina, whatever the fuck. Anyway, the stoic Naruto, that's basically how that version of Naruto would be a suitable Hokage, because he was down to earth. He analyzed the situation. He had a bigger sense of everything around him outside of himself. The reason why Naruto, and I'll end it off with this, is not suitable to be Hokage is because he's selfish to the point where he doesn't care about everybody else's reality. He wants his to be real. And he'll beat your ass basically until you admit that his version is the only version. And he's so selfish that he won't even kill you. Naruto has one body count? He will literally nerf himself, not kill you, in order for you to accept his will. That is literally like, if that ain't slavery, if that's not a form of totalitarianism or whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't know what is. That's like having a fully loaded clip and slowly shooting somebody up the leg until they admit, okay, bro, okay, fine, I'll do it. Like, that's basically what you're doing. He doesn't want to trade ideologies. He doesn't want to understand the world. He wants the world to be the way he envisions it, and he'll force his way through until it is. And unfortunately, the world that he views is a friendly, idealistic one. And as you guys have seen in Boruto, as you guys have seen so far, it's not looking good. So I do hope that they do go back into the ninja world. I don't know how they would. They're probably not, because Boruto's too OP at this point. The power scaling is way off the wall. I can't see a world where they'll just go back to, okay, let's talk about the ninja world, because the only version of that is where Boruto becomes Hokage. And hopefully Boruto would be strong enough to have enough of Sasuke in him to be like, all right, Sasuke was right. We got to do it this way. That would be dope. So that is my final say. Here's it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't have a closing point.
Yes.
That is it.
All right. But appreciate y'all for watching. We're probably gonna do these a lot more. This is very very good vid. It's about 1:30. I'll cut it down a little bit more. I'll probably cut it into like 2 or 3 parts. Or Six never cut his videos down. Just was an hour and a half debating bullshit. Yeah. So if y'all haven't known, this is the Zerk, Spartan Zerk, Zerk Boykin. How many names you have?
Yeah.
Reading his name now. Brother Zerk.
By several names.
Lawful Renegade. I'm going through all of them. Villain with 2 4s. Ronin.
144 actually.
I'm sorry, 144. The last Ronin. Ken.
Well, we're going through all my aliases.
The aliases. Stood there Zerk.
Stood there Zerk is crazy. I forgot about that one.
We go all the way back. I still got the shirt. But yeah. So we'll do more of these. I do have a couple more ideas. Like I said.
Whoa.
We were gonna start a Villains Were Right podcast a long time ago. We still have all the materials. Maybe that's something we can continue with, but there's a lot of characters that I feel like people just brush over because they either don't have a 4D way of thinking or they're too I don't know, maybe they just haven't seen the character from that perspective. So, what we often do is offer that other side of the perspective, from the most realistic standpoint possible from world building perspective. That's why we're like, Aaron's right. So we believe Aaron is right, not in genocide necessarily, but in his ideology. We believe Aaron is right, where Jaeger is over here.
Yes, sir.
Who else was right? What's that nigga's name from Full Metal? Scar? Was it Scar? Scar was right.
Scar, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Scar was right.
Yeah, he was.
OG Scar was right. Yes, sir. Goku Black was right. Niggas gonna look at me like I'm crazy for that one. Goku Black was right. Goku Black was right. And I'll explain why in one of my vids. Who else was right? I got a list of niggas. Aizen was right. Niggas don't want to hear that. I know niggas don't want to hear that. Aizen was right to a degree to where he wasn't. He kind of has like a Danzo-ish complex. He was right until he wanted to be God. That's where I'll leave that. Yeah, Aizen kind of falls into the Sasuke category where when you don't have people around you to check you, you kind of fall into that I'm God complex, and then you just fall off completely. You just start doing shit. If he had niggas around him to support him, yeah, Aizen could have been the perfect villain, honestly. Pain was right. We're gonna dive back more into Naruto. Pain was right up until, like we said, the whole tail beast bomb. His initial ideology was correct. I'm trying to think of so many other characters. There's a list. We'll explore it, but I definitely think Aaron is gonna be the next one. I really, because I just finished watching Attack on Titan for like the 8th time. I really want to talk about Aaron's ideology. I feel like a lot of people missed the point of what he was doing. I think a lot of people aren't comfortable with the true concept of what real freedom is. And um I think people are comfortable with selfishness until they realize that the selfishness has to come in a form that isn't their own. When they come to that realization, then they aren't willing to go fully through with whatever they initially thought, which is human nature, of course. But Aaron was a different type of selfish, so we'll delve into that. Shisui was right, and I'm joking. Nah, he's a bitch ass nigga. But yeah, so we'll definitely dive into this. Yes, Deku was right. Vigilante Deku was right. Yes, I forgot about that. We gotta talk about why Deku was right. So whichever order comes first, Aaron or Deku, we'll go from there, and then we'll debate you guys after. It could be like a series or a 2-part or some shit like that. But that's all for now. Yes.
Yeah.
Is it no storm? No. I offered you guys to sign up. You didn't. It'll last no longer.
Well,
Now we
I'll
do.
address this comment before we wrap it up.
Which one?
From I guess Nay Philabede. I'm not butchering that, but
Nay.
where they were going on about how Naruto's in Christ. Well, when I say Naruto is Christ-like, I don't mean literally like a Christ from the Bible. I mean the Christ on the left-hand side, right? He's supposed to be an amalgamation of Haru or Horus, which is the Christ on the left-hand side, if you know anything about that entity. But basically, he takes characteristics of Christ, because that's what the left-handed Christ does. He takes characteristics of Christ, meaning he's supposed to be there to bring the world together. He's supposed to come back to create peace. He's the quote unquote child of prophecy. All of these things are supposed to be a mimic or a mimicry of Christ in the Bible. He was known as also, in the scriptures, the Son of God. He was also in a way a child of prophecy because he was prophesied before the world had even began to come. Right. So these are all things that they take into obviously bastardize the scriptures, because I'm a firm believer in the scriptures. But of course, when you do research again on the left hand and the right hand, the left hand, they do things again, like I said, to mirror the right hand, which is what the concept of his character was supposed to be, essentially, to unify the world through his belief. And I'll just land there.
Yes. How far is that in the Bible is that?
It's not far. It's throughout the scriptures. They talk about
I'm still in the beginning. Not too
once you get further in, I want to say once you get to like First Kings, it's probably before that, but once you get to First Kings, I think that's when they start. But I mean, Christ is mentioned throughout the entire Bible. He's even mentioned in Genesis. So he sat there on the right hand side of God before the world was even created. So yep.
There you have it. Mentors to lead him to but yeah, we'll give you guys I won't say it today because it's almost 10. Maybe tomorrow when I get off
The
work.
best.
Yeah, we could do like a debate on the Naruto's villain thing. Make that a separate bit. You guys can have your standpoints and viewpoints on what the show is about, or whether or not we're right, wrong, or your own supporting. There are no right answers. This is a debate, an informational debate based on how we see the world, nothing more. So, yes. I'm gonna play my hero now. Appreciate y'all, chat.
Yeah, been fun.
Stand